Welcome back to another video, guys, and this is kind of a follow-on from a video I released a while ago, and it was about, at the time, the DfE released some data showing that there had been a teacher shortage, but they were optimistic that actually that teacher shortage was kind of reducing and it was going away, and hopefully they were getting more teachers into teaching. And part of what they were doing that was they wanted to increase teachers' pay at the starting salary, and they're kind of in the process of doing that. They were hopefully going to hear more from that sometime during July, but yeah, they're kind of on the way to reducing that teacher shortage was the plan. However, there's been some more data released recently that we're going to go over today that actually says, you know what, there might actually be a bit more trouble ahead, a bit more of unrest in terms of the number of teachers that they can get into schools, and it's not turned the corner just yet. So we're going to kind of delve into that data, have a look at what it means, and really go into what it is, why it's there. And this is all from the TES website, so if you've not had a look, go have a look. I'll try and remember to put a link in the description, or if not, go Google, I think it's tes.co.uk, go have a look at the website and see for yourself what all the data means. So to start off with, we're going to have a look here, and I'll pop some stuff up on the screen for you as I go through this talk. They started off looking at secondary schools, and they found that when you look at kind of prior to the pandemic and prior to when all that went off during 2020, mainly in 2021, teacher vacancies in secondary schools have actually gone up by 14%, which is a huge number to think that there's that many more vacancies that are, you know, jobs that are waiting to be filled, and not all of those vacancies are actually being filled now in secondary schools, which is leading to quite clearly a bit of a teacher shortage. And that's why they're really struggling with not just getting teachers into teaching recruitment, but also retention. They're struggling to hold teachers into the job. Once they've got them in teaching, they're staying for not very long. We did talk about in the previous video about how long the teachers are staying for, but it's generally a lot less than it used to be. It's not really seen as a long-term career at the minute for some reason. And so they're really struggling with retaining teachers, but also recruiting them into the job. And that's why that advertising vacancies has gone up by so much just over the past, it's 3 years. 14% is a huge number for that to have gone up by. And when you delve even deeper into that 14%, they spoke to all the schools that were advertising for positions, and 15% of the schools that were advertising said they hadn't actually managed to fill the position. So there was just simply not enough people to go around into the schools. So that's already starting to look like you're getting a large percentage of schools that aren't finding the teachers to fill the positions. And there's all sorts of reasons behind that, but straight away you can see if 15% of the jobs that are out there, 15% of those aren't actually getting filled. There's not enough teachers to go around to find those jobs, to fill in those gaps. And now this is great for you if you're watching this thinking, I want to be a teacher, because you know what, there's jobs out there. Trust me, if you go have a look at a jobs website, there'll be loads and loads of jobs even at this point late in the year, and so hopefully you'll be able to find those jobs quite quickly. I know there's lots and lots of schools at the minute that are advertising for jobs in my area, but yeah, there's definitely a bit of a shortage going on at the minute. There's a bit of a crisis building, and I know the unions recently have been talking about all sorts of things, trying to encourage the government to help teachers stay in teaching and get more teachers into teaching. Something I spoke about recently that is apparently something that is becoming more common as well is I spoke about how when I first became a teacher, my view was that I was always going to become a head teacher one day, and I was going to go straight down that path and progress through my career as quickly as I could and become head teacher. And it seems to be that the case that I've gone through, where actually I'm thinking now maybe that might not be the case one day. I don't know, I'm still open to it, but I'm more open to also staying in class too. That's also the view as well, because the percentage number of teachers that are thinking one day they're going to become head teachers gone from over 50 to under 50%. It's now, I think it's 48% of teachers want to become head teachers one day, compared to 56% prior to the pandemic. And again, that's that long-term view of if there's less people that want to stay in the careers all the way until becoming a head teacher, then they're more likely to leave the career one day. Now, I don't think I'm ever going to leave teaching. I really do enjoy being a teacher, and that's part of the reason why I don't want to become a head, because I want to stay in the classroom actually teaching the children. But I know the part of that is saying that actually you don't want to progress your career, and one day that might mean that a better opportunity might come along for you. And so again, it's a good sign that actually teachers aren't necessarily wanting to stay in that career for so long. And it's about what can we do to kind of fix that? What can we do to change that? What can we do to help teachers and encourage them to stay in the profession? And now I don't know whether that means pay rises. I don't know whether that means more career development. I don't know the answers to these questions that I'm putting out here. This isn't meant to be a solution to the problem, but it is kind of going through there's actually this problem is coming along for teaching, and what are we going to be able to do about it? One area that is seeing a massive struggle is not an area that actually affects me in a primary school, but is a big deal for a secondary school teacher, and that's the technicians behind kind of that work behind the scenes. So I remember being at secondary school, when you went to, for instance, a science lab, you had all your science stuff that was out ready for you, and they're all brought out by these people that worked, and they're called technicians, and they kind of, I guess they have all the chemicals, they have all the different science equipment, and they get it all sorted and ready for the class that needs it at the right time, because you do end up working with some quite dangerous stuff at different times during secondary school. Now, job applications for these technician jobs in secondary schools have actually gone up by 64% compared to prior to the pandemic. Now again, I can't go into why the reasons are because I simply don't know, having not worked in a secondary school, why these jobs aren't being filled. But these are key roles to make sure schools can work smoothly, make sure all the right equipment and chemicals can be used safely in the right environment. And when you look at that increase of 64%, that's a massive increase in terms of these applications. And lots of these schools again are saying that actually by September these might not be able to be filled. They might not have people in the jobs that have got the right skills, the right qualifications, the right experience to do the work that they need them to do. And I can only imagine what kind of knock-on effect that might have in terms of the quality of teaching in things like science. And if you are a secondary school teacher, do let me know, is this something you guys are experiencing? How are you guys going around it? How are you guys getting around this problem? Because like I said, being in a primary school, we kind of do all the things ourselves because we don't work with the same levels of equipment that you guys have to work with, obviously with your curriculum being a lot broader than at the primary school. But I'd love to hear about this. How are you guys getting around this? Is this a problem at your school? And if not, then why do you think this is a problem at other schools compared to yours? So as you can see, hopefully this is something that is going to be resolved. And I know we're still waiting to hear from the government. After a while ago when I put a video out, which again I'll try and link somewhere up there, that they were hoping to offer a pay rise to teachers going into the next year, but we're still waiting to hear just how much that will be. And hopefully that might be something that will encourage more people into the teaching profession, which would be amazing if it does. But as always, when you look at everything with the cost of living crisis, how much everything is going up for everybody and how really tough it is out there for people at the minute, who knows how much it'll be, whether it'll be the same as inflation, more or less. And you know, if it is less, then it's not ideal for encouraging people into teaching. But because at the end of the day, if it's less than inflation, you are actually worse off than you were last year. But hopefully it will be something that will help more people into the profession, because I do think if you are watching this and you're not sure about being a teacher, you're not sure whether or not you want to do it, then I would say absolutely do go for it. Do try and get into teaching because it is absolutely wonderful. Make sure you find the right school, make sure you work alongside people that are in a good team. And if you're not sure about that, then do obviously leave some questions down below. Do go watch some of my other videos. But it is a really, really good profession. You can have a really, really good career out of it. And as I said, I don't see myself ever leaving teaching. I don't even see myself ever leaving the school I work in, because I work alongside such a good team. It's in such a good academy that really, really does well to support us. And it's just the little things that they do for you. So for instance, at my academy, we've just been told that at the end of the year, our school is going out for a meal that the academy's got for us, just because we've worked hard this year and we've had a good year. We've got through our Ofsted review, that kind of thing. And it's just little things like that where, you know what, they really, really do support us. And I think there's always some horror stories out there, and the horror stories always get the worst bits of attention. And they'll splash them across the newspaper headlines. But actually there's a lot of positive things about being a teacher, and there's a lot of things where you do get a lot of holiday. You can have some kind of flexible working, not flexible to the point where you can just book a day off middle of the week, but if you need to leave school straight away at the end of the day at 3 o'clock one day, well, you know what, that is possible. It doesn't mean you can do it every day, but it is possible here and there, definitely. Even most days, if you do manage to kind of sort your work schedule out, like I've had to a bit this year, and again that's going to change a lot next year for me. This is just my little bit, guys, to say, look, if you're thinking about getting into teaching, go for it. If you've got any questions, ask them, and hopefully I can kind of help you along that journey. I know there's a lot of bad stuff out there about teaching, but there's also a lot of good stuff that isn't always said, and that's what this channel's here for, is to show you the good things about teaching, the best things about teaching, to say yes, there are some downsides too, but they're generally almost always outweighed by the good. And look, everyone has bad weeks here and there, but there's a lot more good than there is bad, in my view, as a teacher. So hopefully this has helped you guys, hopefully this has made some sense, and as always, there's a new video on a Tuesday, Friday and a Sunday, and I hope to see you all very soon.